Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. This morning we're getting ready, well, we're not getting ready, we're already on our way to the farmer's market. And trying to get this camera right in the light. All right, so this will be one of our biggest hauls. It's in the fall of the year, and everything is coming into the market uh, in abundance, really. So we're going to get some oranges. I've been waiting for the oranges to come in, and they're finally here. And so we're going to get a bushel of oranges, and I really want to get another bushel of the Honeycrisp apples, but they're the most expensive of the apples. They're double the price, like of the Golden Delicious. So I'm going to have a look at them, but I really, really like the Honeycrisp. They're really good. And the other thing that I want to get would be a 50-pound bag of potatoes. And I want to get the red #1. And this will be enough potatoes to last us really until probably next March for sure, and maybe all the way into April. And I'm looking at my list. And the other thing that they've got now are the red bell peppers. And I used the last of my red bell peppers from last year yesterday on that smothered chicken tenders. And, you know, I just get enough to last almost a whole year. So those that I got last year, I think it was December 20th, they lasted for 10 months. And also I'm going to get some yellow onions. Now the onions and the potatoes and the apples I can store in the garage. And I'm looking for some red cabbage. I really want some red cabbage because I fix it. It's like a German red cabbage, and it freezes really well. And we love it. So, and of course it's healthy. The darker the vegetable or the fruit, the more antioxidants it has. So, and last time I bought some yellow squash. They were beautiful yellow squash, and froze them. They didn't turn out right. Even though I blanched them, they just got super mushy in the freezer. So I'm just going to look at what kind they have. If they have those kind that are, just straight cylinder like, those freeze really well because I've already frozen some of those. So I'm going to see if I can find some of those. If I can, I'm going to get those. So anyway, I'm looking for oranges, apples, red potatoes. I'm definitely getting onions. I want to find some red cabbage. Now, when Williams Produce emailed me the list of stuff they had, they do it every week. They email me. I mean, they send it to all their buyers, I guess. I'm on their list. And they had butternut squash, but I got the list this week, and they've sold out of butternut squash. So I'm going to see if I can find some at another distributor. And the other thing I really want to get would be some kale. We love kale. Of all the greens, we like the kale the best. And it's interesting that the kale, I'm turning this around, my arm went to sleep. The kale is the most nutritious of all the greens. So I'm going to see if I can get that. So I'm going to be pretty busy for about 2 days for sure. We slept late this morning. I can't get this camera right. We slept late this morning, which we hardly ever do, but this morning we slept late, so we're getting a little bit later start. Now, once we get going again, my husband had to run into the store a minute. Once we get going again, I want to talk to you about the North Carolina State Farmers Markets and the Georgia State Farmers Market. So if you're living in any of those two states, this might be some good information for you. All right, so we'll be back in a little while. I don't know what he went in there for, but anyway, he'll be back in a minute. We'll get back out on the road. Okay, I couldn't talk in the truck because the truck makes too much noise. So here's all our haul from Williams Produce. Got some #1 potatoes. The red peppers were much more expensive than they were last year, but they are pretty. And we got red onions this time, navel oranges. I got some yellow squash and zucchini, which I'm going to freeze, and butternut squash. I think that's it for this place. We're going to go over to a couple more places and see what we can get. Anyway, this was Williams Produce, and that's always where I go first because they are the cheapest and the best. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Hi, we are back from the farmer's market, and sorry I couldn't record in the truck. The truck makes too much noise. But anyway, I wanted to give you some of the prices from the stuff that we bought. So the most expensive thing we bought was the red bell peppers. They came out to be $1 each, and so I only bought half a bushel. And at Walmart a couple of weeks ago, they were $1.69 each, so there wasn't that much savings. Of course, I don't know what they are in Walmart now. They might be more. But I think, the price goes up because people are buying them a lot, and I don't know, it's just a consumer thing, and the free enterprise, things go up. But I'm thinking that the price of the red bell peppers is probably going to go down, I would say by January, because they'll start coming in from Mexico. Now, these are really pretty red bell peppers, and we'll go out in a minute. As soon as my husband gets through unloading everything, we'll go out there and look at everything. But anyway, and by the way, on everything that I've already done a video on, like the red bell peppers, on how to freeze those, and let me see what else. I'm not sure. The oranges, I've already done a video on that. I'm going to leave it down below. All you got to do is click on them. It'll take you right to the video where I'm freezing oranges or where I'm freezing red bell peppers. Now, I did find some red cabbage, and I was thrilled. I really was. Now, I couldn't get the red cabbage at Williams Produce, but I did find some at it's BB Hook. That's another distributor in the farmer's market, and the box is a 50-pound box, and it contains 1 3/4 bushels of red cabbage. Now, I love red cabbage, and I'm going to also do a video when I start freezing it, so you can see how I do it anyway. And you can freeze it if you cook it a certain way, or it's not really blanching, it's sort of halfway cooking it and then freezing it. It does really well. All right, and so now I wanted to give you an idea of what the savings was. On the potatoes, now I bought a 50-pound bag of red #1 grade A potatoes, and I bought them for 32 cents a pound. And of course it comes in a 50-pound bag, which will be enough, let's see, to probably go certainly until next March, maybe April, and I do store those in the garage. So I had to actually buy red potatoes at Walmart a couple of weeks ago, and they were $4.99 for a 5-pound bag. So the savings was pretty significant, since I only paid 32 cents a pound at the farmer's market. And another great deal is on the butternut squash. Now, last year I ended up not even buying butternut squash because they were real little. I mean, I don't know wherever they grow them. I guess it was a drought or something. But anyway, this year they're definitely bigger. But if my memory serves me right, I think they were $1.69 a pound in Walmart when I looked at them. I actually didn't buy them because I thought they were too much. So this time I ended up paying 57 cents a pound, so it's really like about 1/3 of what it would be in the store. And the regular squash, now I did get some yellow squash and some zucchini, and I'm going to go ahead and give that another try on the freezing, because I think I know how to do it now. I did it sort of a little trial when I was freezing the little stir fry to see how they would do, and they did great. So this time, instead of steaming them, I'm going to do some stir fry and freeze them that way. I think they'll do fine. But anyway, in the Walmart, they were $1.89 a pound last time I bought them. And I don't know how to figure the poundage on this because I don't know how heavy that box is, but it was a bushel for $16, so it's substantially less than what I paid in Walmart. Now, the oranges, you know, I get an email from Williams every Monday, and they tell me how much everything is. And the oranges, if I'd bought them 2 weeks ago, I would have got them for 17 cents each. But we didn't go 2 weeks ago, so this time I had to pay 39 cents each. But they are really big oranges, and they're from Florida. I mean, they're just fresh in, so that's good. Now, I've also done a video on how to freeze or how I freeze oranges, and I'll also put a link right down below in the description on that video. So if you just click on it, it'll take you right to the video on how to do that. Alright, so I think that's about it. I've covered the red cabbage and everything we bought, I think. Now, I did not get any grapes this time, and I'll tell you why I didn't. Because after you've shopped at one of these distributors for a while, the guys that work there sort of help you out, and they'll tell you what's good and what's maybe not so good. So I asked about the grapes. Now, they didn't have them at Williams, but they had them at Hook, and he said they were pretty tasteless, so I didn't get them. I've learned to take their word for it. I mean, these guys work there every day, all day, and I'm sure they taste of the grapes. They know what's good and what's not. And just like with the red cabbage, this gentleman told me that when you look at the stem, you can tell they've just been cut. So I probably they were probably cut maybe yesterday or day before. So, you know, you just need to know your people, know who you're going to, and they'll really help you out. They really will. But here's another thing. I wanted to just show you this before we go out in the garage. I bought a heated blanket, and this is just a twin size. And this is in case I get any freezing, because we usually put stuff under the house. But this year we're going to go ahead and leave it in the garage. And it really, let me guess and say when it gets down, if it's going to get down to say 20 at night, and they say the weatherman says we're going to have a hard freeze, I'll put the blanket over the boxes and just turn it on low, and that'll keep it from freezing. And this blanket's got an automatic cutoff on it, so I'm good to go there. So I'm definitely going to try that this year instead of putting stuff under the house. We've got a pretty big crawl space under there, but you can't stand up under there for sure, and it's a little inconvenient to have to crawl under there. We put them sort of right at the door, but it's still kind of hard to get in there and get to everything. All right, here's something else I wanted to talk to you about. Now, I did a little research on the farmers markets in North Carolina and the farmers markets in Georgia. Now, here in South Carolina, we just happen to live, I think it's probably 30 to 45 minutes away from our home, so it's not that big a deal to go to our farmers market. Now, when I'm saying farmers market, I'm not talking about the type of farmers market where you got the farmers there and they've got all their produce out there, because that's really retail. It really is. They look at the price in the store and then they just lower that price a little bit. What you want to get is you want to be able to buy it wholesale. So that means you're going to have to buy at least 1 bushel, then figure out how to store it or freeze it or whatever you need to do. But that's where you get those really, really good prices. You get them for the same price the grocery store pays for them. So when you go to the farmer's market, you're eliminating the middleman. That's well, actually the distributor is a middleman, but you're eliminating the second middleman, which would be the stores. All right, here's what I found out. Now, I've got some friends in North Carolina and relatives there. So if you live in North Carolina, just listen up to this, because if you don't already know about your farmers markets, you need to know. All right, you can, and I'll put this link down below too. You can find out all about the state farmers market by going to www.ncagr.gov. And these markets are owned by the state of North Carolina, just like ours in South Carolina are. So obviously the largest is going to be in Raleigh. And they do sell wholesale. As long as you buy a bushel, you can get them at the wholesale price. and that one is located on Agriculture Street, 1201 Agriculture Street. Now, if you look it up on at that website I just gave you, you can find out where all the locations are, because they've got them throughout the state. Now, some, or I'll just say one, does not sell wholesale, and that's in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. They're going to only sell to like grocery stores. So no sense even bothering with that one. But they've got a big one in Asheville, which is the Western North Carolina Marketing Center. That's located on Brevard Road in Asheville, North Carolina. And they most definitely sell wholesale to anybody that wants to buy from them. They're open from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 at night. And I guarantee you, you'll find all those distributors, just like we find in South Carolina, in the same way. And you can definitely shop there as long as you buy one bushel or one box, usually it is, then you can buy them and get that wholesale price. Now, there's another one in Charlotte, and it's called the Charlotte Regional Market. It's located at 1801 York Mount Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. And yes, they do sell wholesale. Buy one bushel of whatever it is, you will get the same price the grocery store pays. So that's something to check out. Now, there is one in Elizabeth City, which is going to be over more towards the coast, and I couldn't really find out any information on that. I really think that's just a physical location, and they're not there all the time. That's what I think. But anyway, you can look at the website on North Carolina's markets, and you can probably find out something more about the Elizabeth City market. Now, moving on to Georgia. Now, of the three states, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, I'm just betting that Georgia has the best markets. And they've got a lot of them spread throughout the state, and you can find out all about them by going to www.agr.georgia.gov. And they do a big promotion on their state farmers markets, and they've got them all over the state. So if you live in Georgia, chances are you don't live far from one of the state markets. And I really want to emphasize this. This is not the same thing as a farmer's market stand out beside the road, or even some cities, like I know in West Columbia, we've got what they call a farmer's market. And they've got a lot of stuff in there, but they sell retail. You don't get it wholesale price. So, and even if you said, well, let me buy a bushel of those green beans, you're still going to pay retail. So what you want to do is get to the state farmers markets. Now, obviously, we've got farmers markets in every state in this country, and depending on what state you live in, just look at it under AGR, like the name of your state. Say if it was Nevada, look at NEV AGR, or try agrnev.gov, and that's probably where you're going to find your state farmers markets. Now, you save, I told you the prices today. All right, you can save probably 2/3 of the price, and many of the things that you can buy can be stored at least for a while. And you know, we get potatoes, and they last 6, 7, 8 months. I get the oranges, I freeze them. Now, we eat a lot of apples because I put them in smoothies, so that would be a little bit different. I also cook some of the apples and freeze those. But we end up, I'm going to say we get a bushel of apples probably at least every 2 months. Maybe my husband says it's more like 6 weeks, but 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm going back to the farmer's market buying another bushel. And the apples don't keep as long, like we can't keep the apples in the garage for very long. So I usually end up putting maybe 1/3 of a bushel actually in the refrigerator, which they keep forever that way. And the other thing is, I wanted to just mention this. The most expensive apple you can buy, I think, is the Honey Crisp. Now, that's my new favorite. The little video I did on the baked apple dumplings, those were Honey Crisp apples. They're not a beautiful apple, but they taste wonderful. And they're always really, really crispy, but they've got a great taste even when you cook them. They're great in apple pies or just cooked, you know. They're just great. So, the price of a bushel of Honey Crisp apples was $30. Now, I've never even seen Honeycrisp in Walmart or the stores, at least not around here. And I think the reason is because they're so expensive. But the Golden Delicious, I checked that price today at Williams, was only $16. So it's $30 versus $16. Now, I like Golden Delicious, but I love Honeycrisp apples. So the difference in price was pretty big, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do simply because I really super like them. Now, I do know how to pinch a penny, okay? But I also want quality and things that are really good. So sometimes you have to actually pay for that, even wholesale. All right, so I think that covers it. I think I heard him close the tailgate on the truck, so we're going to go out and have a look at what we got today. All right, we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we're out in the garage now, and here's the stuff that we bought. There's the red cabbage. Now, this really looks good, and it's super, super fresh, so I'm going to be freezing some of that. And there's the yellow squash. They're from Florida, very pretty. I'm going to do a video on doing the yellow squash. There's the zucchini. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. There are those very expensive red bell peppers. They are beautiful, but they were expensive. All right, Honey Crisp apples, and these come from Pennsylvania. See that little stripe? That's the way you can tell a Honey Crisp. It's got that stripe on it. Anyway, these are very, very nice apples. #1 grade. Oranges, Navel. They are from, well, he said they were Navel, but they don't quite look like Navel, but I'm sure they are. But anyway, they look really nice, and I like it because they're soft. That means they're going to be juicy. Okay. I think I forgot to mention the red onions. I got a great deal on those. And there are the butternut squash. And here are the red potatoes. #1 red potatoes. They look really, really good. All right, so we've got our whole shelf full, and we're going to be able to store certainly the potatoes and the onions and the butternut squash. They'll stay right here in the garage. I'm going to freeze the red bell peppers. I'm going to stir fry slightly the zucchini and the yellow squash, and of course I'm going to go ahead and partially cook the red cabbage and freeze that. And the oranges, I will peel and freeze those in quarter sections. And the apples, I will cook some of those, and some of them I'll freeze, and then the rest I'll go ahead and put in the refrigerator because they don't keep very well out here in the garage. All right, so that's the haul for today, and I'm going to be busy the next couple of days getting all this stuff taken care of. All right, so we will see y'all next time.